Hello and welcome to the podcast with SerAaron and friends. My name is SerAaron, also known as William, and these are my two friends, Brian and
sorry. Let's get one thing straight here.
Brian?
We should actually untie Brian before we start. He's take off the mask thing because he can't speak without it. Can you? There you go.
All right, the mask has been disbanded. Hello, my name is Brian. If you didn't get that.
And I'm also joined by David Hasselhoff.
I'm gonna kill this crab. Die, Cretan. That branch is clearly mine.
Alright, so today I'm not playing a video game, David is.
Thank God.
I bet he still sucks at it though.
Only a couple of times does it severely break. But things go quite smoothly, to be honest.
Alright, how about you introduce this? What game are you playing, Dave?
I'm playing the beta to Elderscrolls Online, the special disclosure, non-disclosure thing ended, and they said, post all the videos and screenshots you want, so I decided to record an hour or so of me grinding all these skeevers into dust as my gigantic steroid-induced tiger man, whose name is Charlie. He's law-friendly, don't worry, guys.
So where's this starting location in terms of Elder Scrolls?
You don't start in
whatever.
Tamriel, like the big Tamriel island.
Right.
You kind of start in a special sort of tutorial island of your own alliance. So this is the I can't remember the covenants.
Is this the Shimmering Isles?
No, it's not.
I don't think it is.
It's not part of Tamriel. That's the thing. It's like a small island off Tamriel.
Oh right. Is this the Khajiit starting zone? Basically?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
essentially,
right.
you don't start. You can't I can't walk off and go to Cyrodiil or Skyrim. I have to do these quests, and they are boring as hell. So the one thing I like about especially exploration MMOs is you have the ability just to say, screw this, I'm gonna go have an adventure and still level up while I'm doing it. But this game kinda, you have to do these starting quests, and a lot of those starting quests are a bit naff.
Oh God, yeah, especially when you make multiple characters.
Yeah, well, luckily there's quite a variety of things. No, not really, but there's three variety of things you can do. There's like major quests. I just killed that frog. You can kill just the simplest things, and I just obliterated that frog. And I'm currently doing a quest where I'm trying to go through this sort of plot that their farm got burnt down, and I'm trying to figure out if it was on purpose or an actual attack. And this guy's basically saying, I did it on purpose.
Pretty intense story writing.
And the reason he did it on purpose was to stop officials from finding out they were making skooma. So, and they've hidden skooma on the beach, and I have to find the skooma for some reason, because God knows the best way to help them from not getting discovered is to find the thing they were trying to hide and then give it to them. Yeah, it's and all this stuff is like built in a way where contextually you can be in a group, but there's so little to do. You're literally going up to this guy, talking to him, and then going to the beach, picking up something else and talking to him again. That's the quest. Yeah. I do a quest later on where it's a bit more hands-on. It's got like a multi-stage sort of dungeon, but you'll kind of see what I mean, where the whole idea that other players are surrounding you kind of ruins the whole feeling that this is your story, because it's not. Everyone else is doing the same thing. I love his dance. It's like a really dainty dance for a giant tiger.
I know, it kind of... When they add things like that into MMOs and everyone's like always doing them, or they're running around in their underwear, it kind of... Obviously, it's not as serious as a single-player version, but I don't think that adds to it. I think it takes away. I don't like it.
I think... Yeah, I don't think you can ever take any MMO seriously. Just because there's so many other people doing it or whatever.
Unless you're playing like a particular role-playing server, because I know there was one on World of Warcraft when I was doing a trial, and I was like, that sounds kind of interesting, because at least it makes you kind of slow down and enjoy the lore a bit. And it makes it into more of a story element than you just running around.
Wait, is that the skooma?
No, that's just some random water I find. I find water inside a sack. So, there you go. Yeah, I'm just like scouring the beach. I don't think this is the right beach. I just kind of go across. Yeah.
I like the wildlife at least.
Yeah, the sort of environment is pretty good. I think this kind of isn't a great example of the variety of environments because it is just a naff beach, but it's a really good looking game, especially in towns. Almost better looking than Skyrim, but it's still got that MMO style huge buildings with giant paths that go on forever. Because it has to be a big game, it has to accommodate to lots of people. The size of the map is almost stretched out, so there's no room for small details. It's all just large blocks of land with a couple of stones and a leaf, so sort of thing.
It's very sparse in other words.
And here's after I kill these things, these crabs, there's a chest, and this is what I was talking about in the first episode, where scattered around are chests which are single use only, which means if while I was fighting those crabs, anyone could have gone up to that chest and taken it for themselves.
Oh wow.
I actually start trying to communicate to this bandit who just starts yelling at me, and if I get closer he'll start attacking me. He doesn't like me.
Wow, he has not got very good eyesight.
No. Also, the combat, how does it kind of compare to other
Did you just
MMOs?
notice how I blocked him as I was moving back?
Yeah, and I just saw he's got like anime lines around him when he's about to attack you and shit.
I don't like the combat in this game still. Even when I'm in third person, the combat is...
What the hell was wrong with that?
Clunky and weird.
Damn particles.
It's the same as Oblivion's lockpicking.
Oh, right.
And you can see there's a timer, which means if I failed that timer, I would kind of have to wait for someone else to try. So it means you don't, once you've secured it, you haven't properly secured it until you unlock it. And
why is a
in
lock
that chest,
got a timer on it?
I don't know. It's a gameplay thing. But inside that is like a guaranteed uncommon, essentially.
Right.
So I got a staff, which is useless. Yeah. It's the same game I played in the first episode. It's just...
Dishonored.
Yeah.
It's Dishonored, but just reskinned, really.
It's the first, it's still the same. I just don't like the combat. If the combat was more like Skyrim, which is weird because Skyrim's combat was
Skyrim's
pretty
combat is
simplistic.
awful, so this must be really bad for you to say that.
It's bad because when you hit people, you don't have the weight of you hitting them. At least when they block, if they've got that really satisfying sort of bashing sound, and you can see the shield make contact with the sword, rather than this.
Is that a dinosaur?
Sort of like that. Also, I snuck up on it.
Well,
I actually used sneaking for once, and it actually worked.
I can imagine in an MMO that wouldn't be amazingly useful, because for the most part, mobs of enemies are kind of... They like to ignore you.
Yeah. But there's not really great times when sneaking really works. And to be honest, these mobs can die in one shot anyway, so sneaking really is useless. Like,
so that flaming sword you've got, is that your starting weapon?
No, I picked that up from another chest. There's quite a few chests around. For some reason, no one was playing in that area. No one was exploring. They're all doing the quest, so I guess they were kind of trying to rush through to get to the actual content.
Yeah.
I was playing it like an old... Oh, yeah. And this is the funny part. This is me getting attacked while an NPC is trying to force a quest on me. And just constantly saying, over here! Over here! I need help! Over here! I'm just like, I kind of got my own stuff going right now.
Fighting a dinosaur!
Kind of fighting a dinosaur.
With the sneaking thing, I was just kind of thinking
look at that
towards...
butterfly.
end game, when you're just kind of doing raids and things, if you have a character that's focused around sneaking, that would be absolutely useless.
Not really. You could probably scout out areas or...
Yeah, but if you're fighting a big boss...
It depends on the level design of the arena where the boss is, really.
Yeah.
And Skyrim doesn't tend... Well, Elderscrolls games have a tendency to not have that great level design.
Well, Elderscrolls doesn't
We
really
just
have
love
bosses.
ripping on Skyrim.
Well, the thing that I noticed when I was playing Skyrim was, like, level design was pretty awful, but they made up for it by just having tons and tons and tons of content.
Yeah. That's
So you'd
kind of
wind
the same
up
in
going
this, to be
through
honest.
basically the same dungeon, like, 10 times or whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, it's not Oblivion, at least, where you literally did go through the same dungeons. Like...
Yeah, there is a certain element of randomness to it, but do you go dungeon crawling at all in this playthrough?
I do a quest in a dungeon. It's like I swear there's one just like it in Skyrim. You basically have a master and their apprentice, and they're like, my master is missing inside this dungeon. He's doing some weird ritual.
Yeah.
We must help him. And you're like, okay. And then you fight the thing that's like messing up everything.
Necromancers?
No, it's just like, well, it kind of is. It's a spirit that takes over people, so it technically a necromancer.
Yeah.
And then at the end, it'll tell me you must choose the apprentice or the master to be spared. I'm being attacked by a dinosaur while I'm leveling up.
No pause.
What are these abilities and things?
So you when you level up, you get a skill point, and you can either put a skill point into default stuff like your one-handed, your two-handed weapon, or you can go into weird stuff like Daedric Firelord, Dragon Slayer type thing, and you get special abilities, and I took them because they seem to be the only ones that give you abilities off the bat. So I'm going the path where I get the stupid hook thing where I can steal people's kills.
I like how you're just casually talking to a reanimated dead person.
He's a sweetie, isn't he?
And his tunic kind of hangs surprisingly well on him, despite the fact that he has no muscle mass.
I think he's got quite a good build on him. I'm trying to... I win!
You did it.
No
You
sense.
beat the video game.
Yeah.
Game over.
It just looks like Skyrim, basically.
It's Skyrim, but incredibly watered down Skyrim. Everything is far more... Look at the size of this place. This is a really small quest, and this place is absolutely huge.
It's got like one skeleton in it.
Presumably to accommodate for, like, them anticipating hundreds of players.
Yeah. Look at these just random guys just sneaking around the fucking screen. People running around, jumping and sneaking. It's just a fucking madhouse in here of people just trying to attack
What even just
things.
happened there? I saw a guy leap and then teleport forwards in a puff of black smoke.
Elderscrolls Online for you.
Presumably this is quite glitchy.
I would try to play this, but even in the beta, I had tons of time to play it, and I didn't really feel like playing this again. I got the experience down, and the rest of it would feel like me grinding through quests. While in Skyrim, it didn't feel like that because you kind of were working a character, an original character. But this, who cares about an original character? Because there's probably 50 of you already running around who look identical and are doing the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah, especially since there's like a race-specific starting zone. Presumably that means everybody here is Khajiit.
Everyone's Khajiit, high elf.
Oh no, I can see some wood elves.
Yeah, high elf, wood elves, and Khajiits, I think, are part of this area.
Right.
And I think Imperials can go anywhere, so there's going to be a smattering of the exclusive Imperial people.
Also, the fact that you have a fire sword.
But you can see in that map, it's sort of an island.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just me stuck on an island doing these fetch quests at the start.
But yeah,
it's the wrong way to start the MMO. You should have just gone in your starting area in Tamriel and just been like, I can fuck off to Cyrodiil and explore.
Plonk you in the middle of the Imperial city.
Yeah, well, no, 'cause that's a huge thing. That's the capital of Cyrodiil. That's a big place. So
Yeah,
you should
exactly.
just be in the middle of just a forest.
Yeah, I guess.
Just
Just some
go
random
explore.
starting zone.
That'd be great, because
Yeah.
then it would also give you a kind of, if you are playing with friends, it'd give you a reason to meet up somewhere.
Yeah.
And I would
That'd be
travel
cool.
across Tamriel to find my friends, and then we can do all the mediocre quests together.
But yeah, you know what I was saying in the last podcast about loot being worthwhile? The fact that you're such a low level, but you have a sword enchanted with fire, kind of.
I
Makes
didn't.
it
Yeah, I
not
didn't
as good.
expect to have an enchanted weapon so early, but and to be honest, I didn't really notice it. Like, there's no real noticeable fire effect other than them burning. But like,
Yeah.
I can't tell them getting damaged by the burn or anything.
Well, it looks like you have an elven shield as well,
Yeah,
which
Yeah.
is like pretty high tier light armor, if I recall.
yeah.
Like, shouldn't you be starting with like a
Shit.
wooden?
Well, yeah,
a
like
small wooden
you
shield
still,
and
even at the start, you still
shitty
can
short
get.
sword.
You get like low tier versions of that, so it'll be like an elven shield. I don't think they're called elven shields. I think they're just like light shields or something. And because of it, you've got it so early on. It's just like 2 armor, while the other proper stuff is obviously enchanted shields, which I actually get an enchanted shield later on. I'm pretty kitted out in good armor. Like, the drops are kind of, I don't know if they're going to change it in the actual game, but I got pretty decent drops. I was kitted out in armor, but I was expecting to get sort of the armor you get from the quests.
Yeah.
But instead, I actually ignored most of the quests, got better armor just by killing random things or finding chests and being fine there. So I really could have happily left this area early and explored, and I'd have a lot more fun time.
Woohoo. What is that? It's reading inside of you.
That's amazing.
That's the cool thing, is if they're checking their backpack or viewing the map, they'll actually look like they're viewing a map. That's kind of cool. But this is absolutely fantastic. This is about 15 people trying to do the same puzzle at the same time.
Oh, for God's
Oh,
sake.
wow.
And after I figure out how to do it, you just watch tons of people doing it the wrong way over and over again. But yeah, this kind of stuff is where it goes wrong, because this is like you're in a dungeon that hasn't been like touched for years, and this is sealed by a secret spell which can only be broken by finding out how to break it. And there's like 15 people running around just like,
people in there.
Yeah.
what do I do?
Yep. And you could just be told by someone, and then you're like, oh, sweet, yeah, I'll just get onto the next quest, and then the next quest, and just rinse and repeat.
Yeah, I think this, I guess this sort of harks back to what I was saying about, like, Dark Souls being good because it explains everything through lore, in one way or another. Whereas, like, this, there is no explanation as to why there's, like, hundreds of thousands of heroes, like, all doing the same fucking thing.
Yeah. Like the overlining sort of underlining storyline is that all these people are gonna join the Covenant to have this giant war, but all these little side quests are a huge part of Elderscrolls games, but
Yeah.
the side quests are so transparent.
Well, yeah, side quests make up like 90% of Elder
Yeah,
Scrolls games.
that's-
Like, the most fun that I have in Elder Scrolls games is doing side quests. I fucking hate the main mission of every Elder Scrolls game.
Yeah, well, this appears to be the sort of opposite. A lot of the big battle type missions that involve a lot of people are the main quest stuff, and a lot of the weird go around, talk to this person, and give this person this very
Yeah.
common MMO fodder turns out to be the side quests. So the side quests are just, it feels like it's filler.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a really bad way. I think Guild Wars did it better because everything you did gave you experience. You could just ignore side quests and just explore the map, and every time you explored a new area, you'd get a chunk of experience.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
While in this, you kind of there's like a couple of specific scene areas that you can find that give you experience, but they're very sparse around the map.
Yeah. But actually, that doesn't make any sense to me, because Elder Scrolls games are littered with like hundreds and hundreds of little locations in the main maps or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't use fast travel, you'll just be wandering down like the main road or whatever, and then you'll go off a side path somewhere, and you'll come to some random shrine, and then you go a little bit further down, you come into a wood with a cave in it, and it's like all this stuff shows up on your map. Like, you'd think, like, any time you find a new location like that, they would add some experience or something.
Yeah.
Like, make it worthwhile to explore.
And a lot of the stuff I've been hearing is the best part. This like all this is just playing through and doing the motions to get to the best part, which is the PvP. Which is, I don't really care for PvP as much in MMOs anyway.
Yeah, that shouldn't be the best part of an MMO.
I usually enjoy these parts, but I could not see myself doing this to try and max out a level, let alone pay money per month to do it.
Yeah.
This is free-to-play games do it almost better.
It just seems like bad game design. Like, if you want to make a game that's like PvP centralized,
I don't think it's PvP
MMO.
centralized, but the people who do enjoy these games enjoy it for the end game.
Yeah.
But this game really seems like the end game is very far away. They said, like, I don't know how much it was, but there's a lot of time can go into maxing out your character.
Well, considering how long you can wind up wasting on other Elder Scrolls games, that doesn't quite surprise me as much.
Yeah.
There's something that you said earlier about the main story that I really hate in these games, and I think I mentioned it when we were talking about Skyrim. But you said your character has to join this covenant.
Yeah.
So no matter what, you have to join it.
Yeah, if your friend makes a character in a different covenant, you have to fight against them.
So you at least get a kind of choice, but you still have to become a part of it.
That class is always part of that covenant, so I can't be a...
Oh, it's class specific.
Oh yeah, it's...
Oh, so
the only one that isn't is the Imperial, and that's the pay to get in class.
Wow, fuck that.
Wait, I didn't realise that Imperial was one you had to pay for.
Yeah, Imperial,
the most common bloody
Imperial
species.
is the race that you have to pay 60 quid to get, and it's limited edition.
I doubt it.
What?
Like, it'll probably be like something extra in a pay shop or something. That's still just as bad, because
That's pathetic.
Imperials are kind of the
is.
vanilla class. It's the one where if my friends made a Khajiit and a High Elf, and I didn't want to make a Wood Elf or a Khajiit or a High Elf, and I said, I want to play as an Orc. Well, you can't play as an Orc if you want to play with your friends. You have to play as the one they've played. You kind of have to set up pre...
That's awful.
Yeah.
Wow.
God damn it, Elder Scrolls.
Man,
Yeah. So I think
let's
PvP
talk about something else, because
Yeah,
this
PvP
fucking
wise,
sucks.
it'll mess up.
What a
That's broke my
downer.
little heart there.
There'll be some enjoyable glitches in the middle, so
Good.
you'll probably notice them when they happen while we're talking about the stuff.
Alright, what have we been playing this week, if anything? Other than Elder Scrolls Online. Brian?
To tell you the truth, I have been playing literally just Dragons-Dogma.
I did notice you were playing it. I did play Dark Souls sometime in the middle of the night, and I noticed you were playing it late into
It
the
is so
night.
much fun. I love that game so much.
I want that game to come on PC,
Yeah,
I
if it
don't
comes out
think
on
it
PC,
will.
I'll play it.
because it's been a very long time, but who knows.
Well, they're going to hopefully be making a second one. That's why they released like an expansion.
Have you
and tons of
seen...
other stuff.
I'll look it up, but there's a game that's kind of becoming the spiritual successor, like the Dark Souls to the Demon Souls. I think it's called Deep Within or something.
Oh, I think I've heard of.
Yeah.
I think I've heard of what you're talking about. I don't think it's called Deep Within though.
It's something like it's not a real name.
In the back passage.
I have no idea. I know it was in the PS4
Yeah.
Sort of media briefing thing.
Yeah.
And they basically said, here's a look at an upcoming game sometime, and they Deep Down it's called. Very close. It's called Deep Down.
Yeah, I think I've heard.
And it was a really sort of nice tech demo for a dungeon crawling third person game, very much akin to Dark Souls, and it's made by Capcom, which it made.
Well, yeah, they did say they'd make a kind of sequel, or maybe, like you said, a Dark Souls kind of thing. And if it's coming out on PS4 and Xbox One, I'm gonna share the same I wish it was coming out for PC thing, because no one's got money.
No,
these
nobody
days
can
just
afford.
get those bloody things as well. Just put them all on PC. Make it easier for us, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Well, if they're coming out on PC, you're gonna have to need a PC, which is gonna cost the same amount as a PS4 or 3 Xbox One anyway.
On the plus side, if you get a PC, I don't want to sound like a superior bloody PC gamer or whatever, because my laptop is shit, but I would rather spend my money on a kind of console thing that will play, everything.
Yeah.
As opposed to just,
PS4 games, yay!
Yeah, I think
They're not going to be...
I admire Nintendo at the moment for not trying to turn their console into a miniature PC.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do miss the old Nintendo
I still
days.
want to get a PS4.
I think if I was going to get any,
there's going to be a lot of good games that are never going to come out on PC, especially from Japanese developers.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's the same with Nintendo. So if I could afford them, I'd get a Nintendo Wii and a PS4. But I'm a student, so
if Donkey Kong Tropical
Solid
Freeze came out on PC, people would go insane.
That game looks really good.
God, Smash Bros on PC, that'd be absolutely incredible.
Oh yeah. Yes, please. Actually, you
I
can
can see that
emulate
working.
it, but
Yeah, hell yeah, it would
Steam
work.
controller support,
yeah.
online play.
If Nintendo ever did anything PC, it would be DRM heavy though. It would be Nintendo's Origin Uplay.
Yeah.
Uplay.
Beautiful words.
Just the words and shivers down my spine.
Don't swear on the podcast.
Oh goodness! I just had flashbacks of it trying to sell me Assassin's Creed. Sorry. Every time you finish a game, it's just like, did you enjoy that? Please buy Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag right now.
It really does that.
It does. Every time you finish a game, it'll come up with a box that says, "Download it now, the special pirate edition for £54." Like.
There's nothing more than I hate. Nothing more that I hate than. I don't know. Words, man.
Do you hate
words.
nothing more?
Do you want
I
to try
hate
again,
being
bro?
advertised stuff when I'm playing something that I bought. They're like, yeah, you may be playing something that cost you, I don't know, £85, but for £2,000 more, you can buy the expansion. Well, I don't want that, because if I did want it, I'd have bought it.
Yeah,
I didn't.
actually. The other thing that I've been finding annoying recently is Facebook integration into games and shit. I haven't played it, but I've been watching a playthrough of the new FF13 Lightning Returns.
Yeah.
And you go into the opening title screen, like Final Fantasy 13 Lightning Returns, new game, load game, options, etc., right? And across the bottom of the screen is scrolling don't forget to like us on Facebook. And it's just, no, fuck off, I want to play a shitty video game.
Switch off the controller, like them on Facebook. I did what you asked, now let me play. No, not until you follow us on Twitter.
Not until you share every single status going back 5 years.
Give us your credit card. Give it to me. No,
Yeah,
Square
it's
Enix, you'll do bad things with it. You'll make another Final Fantasy game. Cloud Strife wants your money. You're not gonna get Final Fantasy 7 with that attitude.
So, William, what have you been playing?
I haven't necessarily been playing that much this
Dragons-Dogma.
but-
Wow, what a coincidence.
Seriously though, Dragon's Dogma is good. If you don't have it, buy it.
I've been watching a lot of streams lately.
That's not good enough.
Well, the World's StarCraft series has been on, and the South California fighting tournament series has been on. So I've been watching both of them.
Is that what they
Fighting
like?
tournament. It almost sounds like it has exercise involved.
No, like fighting games.
Do they actually get people just like they tie
Hugging
their
nerds to
t-shirts
fight.
back and then they let them go and they just slap each other silly. The winner gets a
Super
Atari.
Smash Bros. Melee and Marvel vs. Capcom.
Marvel vs. I enjoy watching Marvel vs. Capcom 3 bouts because they're pretty wacky in themselves, and it's interesting because I played that game quite a lot, and I like seeing what team comps they have. But nothing beats a good Smash Bros. Game.
Yeah, no. They were playing, when I started watching, they were playing Smash Bros. To start with, and then they started playing, they finished that tournament and went straight into Marvel vs. Capcom, and I got kind of bored watching.
I actually prefer watching like normal people play Smash Bros. Because a lot of the new people just jump up and down and move just stupidly fast because it's a Twitch reaction fighting game.
But then pro level like Super Smash Bros. Brawl is just impressive to watch because it's so fast paced. Like I was watching it with a friend and it was just like so intense and so much fun to just watch it. Like my favorite spectator sports at the moment are fighting games and StarCraft 2. It actually makes me want to play StarCraft 2 again, but I don't think I can be bothered.
Easy now, Will. Easy now.
But like LCS is on at the moment, but I just don't give a shit about it.
I liked playing StarCraft 2 against bots, but against other people, I just shit myself.
Yeah, because people kind of do that thing where they take away from the fact that,
Oh, you're this space commander using all these clever strategies.
and it's like, no, mate, you gotta like, if you don't do this tactic, this one tactic that everyone else does, you're gonna lose the game. Like, you've got to like spam buildings there, send this thing around the map constantly. If you miss a click, mate, you're dead. I'm not even joking.
Well, arguably, like, war is like that.
Oh, we're getting deep now. War is like StarCraft 2.
Well, no, I mean, like, you don't
Vastly
see
different, William.
you don't see like chivalry knights going up against people with machine guns anymore.
Unfortunately.
That's not my point, though.
Unfortunately, yeah.
I think like
But my point is they have a kind of right move and a right specific tactic for everything.
No.
Unlike real war, where you have kind of environmental, monetary, all these other fun factors.
Yeah, but like from like there's a lot that you can do. Like it's not like everybody four gates or everybody Zerg rushes or whatever. You don't have to do that, and then not like win every time maneuvers because.
yeah, StarCraft
watch some pro level StarCraft, dude. Like
It's no company of
seriously
heroes,
intense.
StarCraft is a game in a game. It's just like chess, where
Yeah, it's chess basically.
you can easily say, "Oh, in chess, you just move the pieces and then take theirs, and then you win." Well, yeah, of course, but they're going to come up with tactics to stop you. The only reason I don't like it is games can be decided by one like battle,
Yeah,
and it can like games can go on for 10 minutes or half an hour, and honestly, that half an hour game will be them throwing some stuff at them and then not doing anything, and then both of them just building up an army, pushing them into each other, and whoever wins wins. That's the kind of stuff I didn't have a great sort of time with watching StarCraft.
I don't know. I think it's. I find it more interesting to watch than League of Legends. Like I've seriously gone off League of Legends recently.
You should watch Dota.
No.
When the international starts, you should watch Dota. I love watching Dota.
No.
It's fun as hell, especially with decent teams. It also helps that watching stuff when you know stuff is on the line makes it better. I wouldn't watch a normal Dota game like just a normal guy playing Dota, but if it's like for the $2 million that it was the international, it does feel a bit more impressive. So I guess
Where did they get that money from?
Advertising.
No, they got it from sales of the compendium.
Right.
They sold like a special book where you could kind of make your own picks for who will win the International, and everyone who bought like an 80 pence or about £1 book, which kind of gave you a boost for everything as well. All that money went into sort of a pot, and the original winning pot was 1 million, and so many people bought the compendium, they brought it to like 2 million.
Wow. So that is quite impressive.
$2 million worth of sales of the compendium went straight to the players who won the International.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in Africa...
Don't bring up first world
Don't
issues.
bring up
like
Africa.
Fucking...
They don't have Dota.
They can't hear us.
There's a Dota champion in every shantytown.
What was I going to say? Not all of the shit, but a lot of the shit that we said about Twitch Plays Pokemon got, like, proved last weekend when they beat Pokemon Red.
Yeah.
And now they're playing Pokemon Crystal.
And I missed it.
There's a lot less players now, though, and
yeah, I think
so.
I have a very bad feeling that the swan song of the Pokemon, Twitch Plays Pokemon, probably has ended.
It's going to stagnate very quickly.
Yeah. I was watching the random number generator playthrough of Pokemon Red or Blue or whatever, and it was really boring, it was really stupid, and they'd only got to Viridian City and had a level 100 Charizard. I was like, wow.
Oh yeah, of course, just generated so much that they're probably just grinding.
Yeah, it was. I think it's like 100 inputs per second or something ridiculous. So it looks like DDR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, is this where you dance on their grave?
Who's helping? Oh, it's got a little skirt.
You got a skirt.
Yes.
Dress.
Yeah, one thing I do like about this is the armor variety is pretty big. You can get a bunch of different armors.
I don't like how the characters kind of look in general and the way that they stand, because they look so far removed from that normal kind of Bethesda feel. It's just like, I don't know, there's just something really unsettling about it.
Yeah, but I mean, the normal Bethesda feel is already uncanny in itself, so...
Yeah, but at least they're not
moved
oily,
from
bloody
one
supermodels.
uncanny valley to another.
Yeah.
Do they still do that thing where they'll, like, lock eyes with you as soon as you talk to people?
No, when you talk to them, they kind of break into their own sort of camera lock. A third-person camera lock. So they kind of just stand there. Because if they did actually look at you, that means they'd be looking at you while someone else is playing. And she'd be looking off a different direction.
It would ruin the immersion if it wasn't already ruined by the 200 people in a dungeon.
Yeah.
Immersion is not a big thing with this game. It is.
That was pretty obvious.
It takes a very special MMO fan to really enjoy this, I think. It takes an MMO fan to enjoy this, and I'm apparently not an MMO fan to enjoy a game which, if you told... When this first got announced, I was ecstatic that they were making an MMO, but they kind of made it... That sounds really nasty, but they made it the wrong way. I thought they were going to make it. I thought they were literally going to use the Skyrim engine and just have tons of people.
Yeah. Or just... Like, the thing that I want is just fucking Skyrim with multiplayer. I mentioned this in the first episode.
Look, I'm looking at a cutscene.
Oh.
I'm getting some information. No, okay, no. You don't have to move. You don't have to move.
Can your character move, or is he locked in place?
No, I'm not moving.
Wow. Brilliant. Brilliant.
Oh.
Really important part of the story, and then some guy's arse is in your face. Also, he is a very thin arse.
Well, they're high
Very
elves, they're
flat ass.
thin people.
What was I going to say?
Something about crabs.
Something about, like, just
Got a new
Skyrim with multiplayer would have been better than this. I feel that they're like 4 years too late on this, because nobody really plays MMOs anymore.
This
4 years
was
too late, it's
in
not good
development hell for a while. I think this is quite an old game.
Yeah.
Pushed out pretty late, and it kind of feels like it. Like, the mechanics feel 4 years old.
Also, where's John Cleese?
He's in the tutorial.
Oh, right.
He probably shows up as like, because he's kind of like a spirit guy, like a wacky spirit guy with a pot on his head.
Oh, like in Harry Potter.
I guess. Yeah.
Harry Potter.
Well, what is Harry Potter?
Well, he plays a spirit dude in Harry Potter as well, doesn't he?
Oh, he's the headless guy. The
Yeah.
guy whose head keeps falling off. Yeah, I remember. People can't say I don't know Harry Potter. I know that. I know
don't
that.
fucking know anything about Harry Potter. I
That-
know John Cleese is in it as
I
a
know
ghost.
that Lord of the Rings.
That's my favourite animation.
Anyway, I was playing something.
Oh yeah.
You were?
Was
I
it Dark Souls?
There's Dragons.
There is nothing wrong with Dragon's Dogma. Dragon's Dogma. Well, actually, the difficulty curve.
I'm not saying there is. I'm saying
Just
everyone needs to play this game. So we're going to spend the rest of the podcast talking about Dragon's Dogma.
Yeah.
No,
I'm okay with that.
I was playing South Park: The Stick of Truth, which isn't actually out yet in Europe. The reason I bought the US version is because the European version is censored.
Oh yeah, it does.
Chunks of the game actually got censored by a European board. And
Wow.
I got quite annoyed, so I bought it off Amazon.com, digital download.
Is that https://amazon.com where you can buy many things that you want and we don't
Yes.
endorse them?
Buy your things on Amazon.com. Blink, smile.
Insert subliminal message here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I heard that the European version of the censorship though is funnier than the original joke that was censored.
Well, they posted the actual image, so it kind of destroyed the whole joke about it.
Oh right.
Because it is just a statue behind, in front of a European flag, and it just commentary explains
describes
the joke.
what's happening.
Yeah, it describes the joke, and it somehow is funnier.
Yeah.
It's just describing all this stupid stuff, and then just saying, yeah, people didn't like it, so you can't see it.
So why would you not go for that one over?
Well, I want to play it now.
Ah,
It doesn't come out for a while. On Steam, it currently says it comes out in March, but it doesn't say when in March.
Oh.
So I decided to pick it up now. It's fun because it's made by Obsidian.
Who made
Fallout New Vegas. Obsidian,
Yeah.
I believe.
and trying to think what else they've made.
There used to be Black Isles, so they made like Neverwinter.
Oh yeah, wait.
They're the ones that are making Pillar of Eternity.
Yeah, they are. They're doing the infantry.
So needless to say, they're in safe
Yeah.
RPG hands.
Yeah.
Ignoring Alpha Protocol, they're in safe RPG hands. And it feels like a Obsidian game, both in terms of Neverwinter Night 2's constant dialogue and just general large worlds to explore, and New Vegas' mass amounts of loot to find. First thing is, the game looks like South Park.
Yeah.
It's no bullshit 3D models from the classic PS1 and N64 game where the fog was up to your face.
I liked the N64.
It was a horrible game.
Yeah, controlled
It was
like
fun
a
with
fucking
friends.
corpse. But
It's side-scrolling, so it looks like the actual animation, and that's part of its charm. It feels like you're playing an episode, even when you switch off the game and load it again. It does that kind of jingle, that sort of country dun 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 sort of jingle.
yeah.
Like it's a new scene of South Park when you start your load again. So it's just little stuff like that that feels like you're playing an episode. The combat is like Paper Mario. So it's the one where it's
Yeah,
side-scrolling.
turn-based, right?
It's turn-based, but it'll use button commands to kind of amplify damage and do extra stuff and block. So you don't just click a bunch of stuff and then fly through fights and get experience. You kind of have to pay attention.
Yeah.
And there are little extra bits that you can add on to do extra damage, like one of the abilities is you do a rock, paper, scissors, and then you kick them in the balls, and then if you charge up enough, you kick them in the head. And then you can add extra stuff like gross out factor, so if you just kick them in the balls, all the other enemies would get grossed out and start like vomiting.
I heard that in like true tradition of the cartoon that Kenny can't be killed or something.
I don't know, I haven't got that far yet.
Alright.
Kenny, I don't think Kenny can join you, I think. There's like
I was watching a
spaces for
stream
people
of
to
someone
join.
and he had
Don't
Kenny in
talk
the
about
party.
fucking stuff. Yeah, I haven't played much of it.
So, well, Kenny's a main
Stop watching
character.
streams of games and buy some games.
Yeah, well,
I don't have
for
any
God's
fucking
sake.
money.
If you got time to watch the stream, you got time to play the game.
I haven't got any money to buy new games. Like, all the games that I play are like 3 years
dance.
old.
Dance for me and get your money.
If you want to buy games for me, be my guest.
No, I don't feel like buying you any games. Buying games for myself is expensive enough.
So I was kind of thinking, so it's South Park, but it's made by the Black Isle guys, and there's lots of loot to it. I can't really imagine how that would work with the whole South Park universe.
The reason the game is like the game kind of follows the aesthetics of the most recent episodes where they have the console wars, and that's like them acting out essentially Dungeons and Dragons style two kingdoms against each other, which is Cartman's kingdom, Keeper Coop or whatever, Cooper Keep, and the Dark Elves, which are just random kids with elf ears. And they basically, they're fighting over the Stick of Truth, which is just a stick. But it's like, if you own the stick, you own the key to the universe type thing.
Right.
And so they're just fighting over. It's classic kids way over their heads playing. But because they're way over their heads, they think it's serious business. And they're like kitted out in armor and swords and stuff. And trying to beat each other up with like katanas they steal from their dad and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's still following that, and because it's a fantasy world, there are like random chests, but instead of like a normal chest, it's like a box with a really crudely drawn skull and crossbones on paper stuck on it. And you open it up, and there's like a chocolate bar and some guy's car keys that if you go to his car, you can open it up and get like an ashtray to sell for like $3 or something. But all the junk is actual stuff from the series.
Right.
Like, I've never seen a game with so much detail in just the tiniest things. Like, some of the stuff you'll pick out from actual episodes, like some of the collectibles are Chimpokemon from the episode which parodies Pokemon. There's just Chimpokemon hidden around the map, and if you collect them all, I guess it does something. But there's tons of collectibles and just stuff from random episodes, like old and new. Yes, it's very much a fan service South Park game.
Yeah,
the first of its kind, because I remember I played the tower defense game, and I kind of like that, but even then, it's trying its best to throw all this South Park stuff up. But it's in the end, it's a tower defense game. This is the first game where you create your character. I forgot to mention that. You create your own character at the start.
Yeah.
So the story is you've just moved into the town, and there's some underlying, the underlying sort of story is that you're this new kid, but there's something strange about you. Like your parents are very sort of suspicious of something, and they just want you to make friends and stay out of trouble, sort of thing.
Right.
So I think there's going to be stuff like that actually happens after that. But
so the general premise is like it's kids playing Let's Pretend.
yeah,
That's pretty cool.
so they're all like having a small war, and fighting clan against clan, and it still follows the conventions of RPGs. So you have your fighters, your mages, and stuff.
Yeah.
And instead of you actually using magic, even though you can use magic, a lot of the stuff is weird, like fire attacks, where you're just farting into a lighter and it's shooting out fire at them. So yeah, it's a very fun game. I've only just started it, played a couple of hours, and it lets you explore the whole of South Park all the stores, all the characters are there. Like you can just walk into Stan's house and look at his stuff. And,
From the get-go.
yeah.
Unlike
Some of the stuff is locked.
the game that we're watching.
Oh,
Look at this guy cook. He's having the time of his life.
provisioning, because that's a.
There's gonna
Pork
be this
soup.
He sniffs it a bit.
And vomits.
This is the most exciting part of the game.
Cutting edge gameplay brought to you by Dave
And
the
look,
Tiger.
notice how I
No,
close the
Charlie.
menu, and I'm still in the animation.
still in the
So I start to panic a bit. I'm like, okay, this shouldn't be happening. How do I get out of this? And I'm trying to. There you go.
Nothing quite like a floating pair of arms.
I have officially stopped cooking.
Oh my god!
And the only way to get out of it is logging out.
Wow.
Brilliant.
Still in beta,
Oh.
folks. But it's quite funny. I was in the middle of cooking and then I just disappeared from the earth. My planet needed me, apparently.
Jesus, that's wow. All right, Brian, what was your topic?
My topic was basically concerning modern survival horror. So, if you remember early survival horror games, I think one of the first ones was Sweet Home on the NES, which I don't imagine you know too much about.
Nope.
I want to play that game because I know there's a translation ROM of it. But
Yeah.
it's supposed to be really good and really dark for its time.
Yeah, it's basically kind of like you're this group of people. You go into a house and you get split up and you work together to get through all the traps and things. But I think it's one of those games where when a party member dies, they're dead for good.
Ah, right.
So you walk around, you see all these things run into these traps, and there's a genuine weight behind them because it's not like, oh, I'll just respawn or anything.
yeah.
So, yeah, it's a really good game that showcases all of the good elements of survival horror.
Yeah.
Then you have games like Silent Hill, which is very kind of story heavy, but with some light combat.
Very
and,
atmospheric.
Yeah. The scares are basically built up from the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Because it's not like you see an enemy and that's the main scare. The main scare is you're kind of walking around this desolate place and then suddenly a air raid siren fires and then it goes into darkness and you can't see and then your radio buzzes.
And then the
all
roof's
that.
made of dead bodies.
Yeah. Then you have games like Resident Evil, which is similar vein but more kind of action heavy.
Yeah, the first... Resident Evil 1 and 2 were pretty good. I really liked Resident Evil 4. I think most people
Yeah.
agree that's the best one.
Yeah.
Silent Hill 2 was generally accepted to be the best Silent Hill as well.
Well, I would say Silent Hill 2 is the best for story and kind of character development, but Silent Hill 3 for the level design, the atmospheres, like the textures when you go into the hospital and it gets all kind of, it goes into Silent Hill mode.
Yeah.
Is absolutely terrifying because it feels like you're almost walking around in hell.
Yeah.
Like the amount of attention to detail. So when you think of all these lovely games, and then you think of modern games, basically Silent Hill and Resident Evil, I want to ignore them as survival horror because they're just not as well done. For example, my brother played through Silent Hill Homecoming, which is the first one after Silent Hill 4,
Yeah.
and you play as an ex-soldier.
Yeah.
So he's given, right from the get-go, he's given all of this power and this kind of confidence and survivability,
Yeah.
instead of being like some random guy that turned up or some guy who's locked in his bloody flat.
Yeah.
And instead of letting a lot of the scares happen as you play, like Silent Hill 3, Silent Hill 2, the way that they do, it does them in cutscenes. Like, I remember my brother was walking around in the guy's house, and he goes into the garage, and you're like, oh, this is slightly scary because I don't know, the atmosphere's all right, I guess. And then this thing comes out, and you're like, oh god, it's gonna hurt me, but it's in a cutscene.
Yeah.
So you know it's not. You're just
Yeah.
like, oh, this thing's gonna happen, and I'm gonna bugger off for a bit.
You get that. Well, I think most recently Silent Hill's been getting a little bit better. Like, Silent Hill, what's it called? Shattered Memories was, like, it wasn't scary, but it got back into the feel, like the same sort of feel as Silent Hill 2, I feel.
Is that the one where the main motif is, like, everything's frozen?
Yeah.
I played that and I fucking hated it.
Like, it wasn't, well, at least they took away combat.
It was supposed to be a retelling of the first one.
Yeah, it's supposed to be
butchered the story.
No, it wasn't supposed to be an exact retelling. It was supposed to be like a reimagining of the.
Yeah, it's like a Hollywood remake of something that doesn't need to be remade. It should be left alone, and they should be concentrating on furthering things instead of going back and just like,
Oh yeah, I'm going to redo it.
Well,
There's going to be some silly motion bits and all that
at least they
jazz.
got rid of the stupid cultist bullshit. I never liked that in Silent Hill.
well, I don't know. Each to their own.
Yeah.
But yeah, so modern survival horrors, if you ignore Silent Hill and Resident Evil, you have the important ones like Amnesia,
Which is really good.
and I don't know if any of you have seen gameplay or heard much about it, but Outlast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Outlast
because
is pretty much the next Amnesia in terms
Yeah.
of popularity.
yeah, because my friend was playing it, and he was basically saying how it was so scary. There was a group of 3 of them, and there was this one scare that made everyone scream so loud that one of them fell off his chair. But yeah, Outlast, like Amnesia, it focuses a lot less on combat, like the modern Silent Hills, where they're like, oh, you can do all this crazy shit. Way.
Yeah.
It's a lot more about atmosphere and that sense of being a really weak, easy to kill character. Because yeah, in Outlast, you just walk around with a camera, and if someone finds you, you have to run away. There's no choice about it. To survive, you have to run.
I saw some early gameplay of it, like, back in October. It looks really good.
Yeah.
You're basically a journalist who's gone to an insane asylum or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you look at what makes those games good, like the atmosphere, I can't say story for Outlast, but I can say story for Amnesia. And then you look back at the new Silent Hills and the new Resident Evils. It's awful. It feels like if you think of it in terms of the film industry, Outlast and Amnesia are the kind of the indie films where they concentrate on the important things.
Yeah.
And Silent Hill and Resident Evil are now the Hollywood ones that are like, okay, we're going to scare you with jump scares, titillation, all this kind of unnecessary spectacle-based things.
Don't scare me with titillation.
Not tits! Oh!
Speaking of tits, Silent Hill Homecoming. Right, well, in Silent Hill 2, all of the enemies are some sort of physical manifestation of the character's emotional problem.
There's a lot of symbolism in Silent Hill games.
So the nurses, although they're sexualized in a kind of disturbing, detrimental manner.
In a sort of do not want kind of way.
Exactly, because they represent something
Speak
that
for
the main
yourself.
character isn't proud of.
Yeah.
But in Silent Hill Homecoming, which completely throws the idea that the monsters in 2 were made for the main character there, because they appear in Homecoming.
Fucking, what's his name? Pyramid Head shows up as like a cameo
Yeah.
appearance. And it's like, why are you here? You're supposed to be somebody's like sexual tension or whatever.
Yeah, but there's a part with nurses,
Yeah.
and you're just like, oh, these are basically just well-built women with huge tits, clean tits. They don't have the rusty Silent Hill feel to them. They're basically just
damn it!
Oh, I
It's
hate my
basically-
women clean.
they're basically just women with a nice pair of tits and a little mask on their face, and you're like,
Took away my rusty teeth.
but it makes it not scary at all. It's
I know
kind of
exactly
comical.
what you mean. And the Silent Hill movies do the same thing. Like, Just the nurses and Pyramid Head are in it for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
But this, like, that's on a slightly longer timescale between, you know, the latest Silent Hill games and the earlier ones, or the same with Resident Evil. But, like, a similar thing is happening on the short scale as well, because Amnesia: A Machine for Pigs is not awful, but not the same as the first Amnesia game. Like, it's made by the same people that made Dear Esther. Yeah. And if you played Dear Esther, it's basically a walking simulator showing off the engine. And the latest Machine for Pigs, Amnesia, has basically devolved into scary Dear Esther. And it's not even that scary, apparently. I've yet to play it. This is just what I've heard, but it makes sense knowing what the Chinese room are capable of, i.e. not much. And the same thing is happening with Dead Space, although that's more of a publisher problem.
Don't get me started on Dead fucking Space 3. All right?
That happened.
Dead Space 3 is awful. Dead Space 1 was pretty good.
Dead Space 2 was also good, but the thing with Dead Space is it's kind of made scarier when you're playing it in hard mode. Because it's less about the environment and more about, oh, Jesus Christ, there's a bloody alien that's going for me nuts.
Yeah.
So if that alien can't...
It's not in the same class as like a normal survival horror game, but it's not more like an action horror game like Dead Space 3 is.
Yeah, but with Dead Space, it is more literally about the survival.
Yeah.
And less about the horror.
Yeah, I mean, I've played through most of Dead Space 1, and it's made me eternally afraid of, like, air vents, but that's about it.
Yeah, but it's done something right.
Yeah.
To kind of make that fear in you.
Like, I like Dead Space 1, but I didn't like Dead Space 2, and I haven't played, but I've heard awful things about Dead Space 3.
I played the starting parts of Dead Space 3. I've seen screenshots of it, the intro and everything, where he's like, instead of being an almost faceless character in Dead Space 1, he's this guy with a sexy leather jacket,
they gave him, like,
whiskey,
way too much
smokes.
personality.
Yeah, shit personality. He doesn't fucking need. Because the player can't project themselves onto him and be like, oh god, this is me in that situation.
Yeah.
The bloody clown lights in it as well. Everything's really bright and colourful.
And
Clown
the
lights.
multiplayer. Like, the mere fact it has multiplayer takes, like, 50% of the scariness away.
Yeah. Though I would really like a nicely crafted survival horror game. Because one of my guilty pleasures in this respect are the Resident Evil Outbreak games. If you've played or heard of them.
I haven't even heard of them, I don't think.
Because when they came out, it's basically an online version of Resident Evil, where you choose from this roster of characters and you're put into a kind of smallish level. But the scary thing is, zombies can burst through doors, and your player character can turn into a zombie, which can then attack the other players.
That sounds a bit like Left 4 Dead.
Don't get me started on Left 4 Dead either.
Well, Left 4 Dead is a zombie game. I wouldn't call it a horror game.
Yeah. But the thing is with Outbreak is the story is so kind of basic that kind of lends it some of the beauty, because it's more like, well, in the first level in Resident Evil Outbreak 1, you go through this this pub that's being kind of invaded by tons of zombies, and it feels like it's just you, and they're all kind of coming up from the ground floor, and you can do things like barricade them, which will give you a couple of extra minutes, and if you take too long in one area, there's like tons and tons and tons of zombies, so it has the kind of the timed escape feel to it without an actual timer.
Yeah.
Because it just gets harder and harder, and they kill all your men, and you have to kind of help the wounded up and everything.
That's kind of it's gone full circle now, because games like DayZ, Project Zomboid are all about that.
Yeah.
It's all about the situation rather than we must kill these zombies. It's how are we going to get past these zombies? Like, killing them is actually more of a detriment. You might as well just either hold out and survive or get around them somehow.
Yeah.
And that's going against all of the stuff from the new Resident Evils, where killing them is your main priority. There's no way you just walk past them. You'd kill them in the most incredible fashion possible.
Yeah, even in The Last of Us, like, it's sort of the same. Like, they're basically zombies in The Last of Us, and it's sort of the same thing. Like, you want to avoid them, not catch their attention or whatever.
Yeah, and if you catch their attention, you're going to have a hard time. And I like those games better, even though they're so popular now that they've almost just
they're beginning to
market.
Not beginning. They've been stagnating for about a year.
Yeah, they
and a
stagnated
half.
the market pretty much. Any zombie game. Well, yeah, any zombie game.
I literally don't care
follows
about
that
zombie
kind of-
games anymore.
Yeah. Particularly that Minecraft one that really pissed me off. That people pay £30 to play a Minecraft zombie mod.
Oh yeah.
I'm somehow wasting their money on that. But I also, just to kind of show you how good Outbreak was, the Japanese, European, and American servers were all shut down because it was on PS2 online.
Yeah.
Some Japanese fans actually started their own servers up again to play it on like an emulated server because they liked it that much. So yeah, it was
If only
a
they
pretty
did it in
popular
Europe,
game.
I would play that so damn much.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
because it's still like a popular game because like it's simple and the mechanics are done in a way that it's classic Metroid Resident Evil friendly.
Yeah.
It's not Resident Evil 4 style, and it's also look at this slow motion walking guy.
Oh wow.
But yeah, the limited controls with Resident Evil and Silent Hill are again some more examples of the good aspects of survival.
Yeah,
horror.
it's a part of it. Like because Resident Evil has what's called tank controls because you control like a tank. You have to turn.
I hate that
like,
bloody word being
individually.
used when on about games. They're
Well-
not tanks. They're just awkwardly moving people.
Well, no, but it's a system that works. Like if Resident Evil didn't have tank controls
Yeah.
and was still laid out in the same like isometric sort of way, then Resident Evil would be impossible to play because you'd walk through a door and you would then turn around and walk back through the same door or whatever. So tank controls are really, really good for that. And when a survival horror game doesn't have tank controls, like there was an X-Files game that came out for PS2, I think, and it was pretty good, but it didn't have tank controls, so it was really janky. So like the controls are a big part of it, but they're also, like you said, like a constraint, a limitation, and that actually adds to the horror, I find. Like
Yeah, definitely.
like it's partly that it's bad controls, and it's partly that you just aren't used to the controls, which gives this like personal sense of achievement when you get towards the end of the game and you're like, yeah, I got this or whatever, and then it throws like something massive and insurmountable at you and you shit yourself again. But like yeah, the controls in survival horror games especially are a massive part of it, I feel.
Yeah. I know you're kind of saying zombie games have been done to death and everything, but one zombie game that I do really kind of appreciate the atmosphere that it puts you in is the first Dead Rising. 'Cause when I first played that game, you never played it.
Ooh.
I don't play that many zombie games because I don't like the genre as a whole. I don't really like zombies, period. Like, I think they're really boring creature design.
Yeah. But, yeah, it has this whole kind of Dawn of the Dead feel to it, and you are trapped. There is, like, a limit and obviously being a new character and a new player, you're trapped in this massive shopping mall, absolutely littered with zombies. You have shit stats. You don't know where you're going, and there's lots of really kind of creepy, messed up bosses, like the bloody shopping cart guy. Absolutely scared the shit out of me, and the gun store guy, because the level of difficulty was just so much that you kind of shit yourself just going in there, and then after you've either been defeated or you've kind of just barely managed to scrape by, you've then got to traipse through hordes and hordes of zombies just to find some crisps. but yeah, it was done so nicely.
I've seen gameplay of Dead Rising 2 and 3, and it looks awful.
Yeah, because Dead Rising 2 and 3 miss it. They missed that point by being like, oh, okay, instead of being a journalist with a big freaking nose, you're this crazy fucking hench American guy who's like, yeah, I'm gonna sellotape chainsaws together.
Yeah, and it's like got all that shitty crafting aspect. And isn't there a bit where they like make a zombie killing TV show or something? You have to ride around on a motorcycle and do a ton
the second
of
one
bullshit.
kind of goes very odd.
Off the rails,
to
say the least.
And in the third one, you're a bloody mechanic with a leather jacket and everything who's really hench.
Third one gets rid of the really good sort of aesthetic of the colourful mall or stuff and Las Vegas, and it just has this drab city. It looks like every other sort of game, but it's a zombie game, and I don't care.
That's the thing about Dead Rising 1, it had that kind of Capcom charm to it.
It did have a very nice style to it.
Yeah, it was so kind of jokey and wacky that just made it feel more disturbing.
Yeah, like the fucking clown on the roller coaster. Jesus Christ.
Like the way you go up to meet him, you walk up to that thing that's speeding round, and then it just gets into this really kind of weird cutscene, and he comes out of nowhere, and then you fight him in this massive open area.
Yeah, the boss fight is him just walking towards you, and you can just run off into a store, get a weapon, and beat him up, and or he'll follow you into that store.
Sounds a little bit like the video game equivalent of Zombieland or something.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. It is tongue-in-cheek in a lot of parts as well.
If there's any zombie film I like, it's Zombieland, because it's like you said, tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah.
Like, fairly non-serious.
This was at the start of the Xbox 360. This is quite a while ago. And back then, that was the most impressive thing to have that many zombies and that much space to explore in one area.
It now, and you can barely stand the bloody screen tearing every time you turn the camera.
Yeah. And the loading screens and
Oh,
the way the game, like mechanically, the way the game is set up with the time limit. I remember when we first used to play the game, we hated it because all we wanted to do was run around and kill things and just explore. But then the time limit would be a restraint for us. But as soon as you kind of get down to it and play it and actually find out it's about taking your time and failing and then retrying and failing and then retrying.
Well, I always liked that kind of feel to things when I was a kid, because you play them and the time limit kind of almost feels like the end of the world. So you're just kind of scraping along, and the closer and closer it gets to it, you're just like, oh, I just want to find a good place to curl up and die. Because I remember there was a part in this kind of not fully completed part of the mall that I went into, and I made this massive barricade and just had a little pistol with a couple of shots there. And I was waiting there as the timer was counting down, just picking up a couple of zombies in this really solemn attempt to stay alive.
Would you say that it has the same, like, daunting atmosphere as, say, like Majora's Mask has, though?
No, because
you know, like
you're comparing like amazing writing and character design and stuff to
but
just the
I mean,
yeah.
this started off as a conversation about atmospheric gaming, so I'm trying to bring it back.
Dead
to
Rising
that.
1 is atmospheric, but in a different sense to Silent Hill.
It's certainly more gameplay oriented than atmosphere, though.
Yeah.
If you watch the trailers, it is mostly him running around with weapons, killing zombies. It's not like, oh, these characters are deep.
But with Silent Hill, it is more based around the story, the level design, and the music and everything.
Yeah.
Like all the sound effects are so unsettling and disturbing. And yeah, I just feel that modern survival horror, even though Outlast seems to be doing it right, it still feels like a really Hollywood version of things, because it does have jump scares, and when you first go into the building, there's like an army guy impaled on a thing, and it's like, oh my god, man, you gotta leave. Instead of you just kind of going in there and experiencing it for yourself, it has this Hollywood in your face all the time feel to it.
So what would you say is your favourite, or in your mind the most perfect survival horror game?
I would probably say Silent Hill 3. That was a absolutely brilliant and fucking terrifying game.
It's a cool.
Like there's a part in, I think it's the second level in the subway, where you walk around for ages, because it is a game where you do get stuck and you tend to backtrack. But that backtracking in that environment just feels horrible. Not in the bad sense, as in like terrifying. But yeah, when you backtrack, you can find this newspaper, and it's just this really subtle, basic story about someone who died on the train tracks. And after you've read that, if you go to this one specific place, it goes into this kind of hidden cutscene where the camera slowly comes towards you, and it represents the ghost of that person pushing you onto the train tracks. And you're like, what the fuck? Why am I on the train tracks? And then suddenly this massive light comes towards you, and you hear the train going along, and with those awkward controls, you're like, Jesus fucking Christ, climb back on the thing.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So yeah, Silent Hill 3, brilliant game.
I'm trying to think what my favourite survival horror games
Have you played Silent Hill 4?
I guess it would either have to be Silent Hill 2 or Amnesia.
Well, have you played Silent Hill 4? Because it does have this one aspect that no other survival horror game does that I absolutely love.
I have not. Is that the one where he's trapped in a room for the whole game? Yeah.
And the levels kind of suck with because it has this this focus on the combat, and there's just so much backtracking, but not in a good sense. But the flat, every time you go back to it, I hate it. I don't feel comfortable in it. It scares the shit out of me. Because it's a third-person game that forces you into first person in this grimy, kind of blurry PlayStation 2 graphics flat. And you can only look out of the windows, and it has this really desolate surroundings. And these billboards with numbers that when you call them, they make fucking terrifying sounds. And when you come back later in the game, it just starts getting haunted, and like more shit happens, and the walls kind of change, and blood and fucking scary, lonely shit.
Yeah. That does sound pretty cool.
Yeah, it's the most unsettling kind of hub area that I've ever seen in any game.
Fair enough. Alright, so I think we're coming to the end. Or may have already come to the end if it's
Probably.
if the thing is broken.
Charlie, the giant tiger, has stopped living.
He is now dead.
Along with this game.
The music's back. Oh well.
Wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, the video's gone like corrupted for me.
It's just gone to fishing.
Right.
It's
It
just
stopped
fishing.
for me, even though it's loaded the rest of it.
Yeah. I guess the video is as shit as the game.
$15.99 a month, everybody.
Thanks for watching.
Next week, Brian gets impaled by Pyramid Head.
Nice new nipple piercings.
What?
Okay.
I like that.